Hello there, I'm Tom, the deranged moron that built this. Oh, shit, wrong picture. Where's that video? This is Masutangu, my 1965 Ford Mustang that sits on a 1996 Honda Civic chassis. Yeah, you heard that right. Front-wheel drive, baby. Huh? What? The Mustang is supposed to be America's pony car. It's supposed to rear wheel spin. Barber, give a heart medicine. I built this car simply because the thought of an old Mustang doing a front-wheel drive burnout was f***ing hilarious. And it is. So, this is how we built Masutangu, the most offensive Ford Mustang on the planet.
That's horrible. That's freaking horrible.
The car started its life as an 1,800-pound, 400-ish horsepower, high-compression, turbocharged E85 chugging B-Series powered go-kart that I found on Facebook Marketplace for a touch under $5,000. This thing was fast as hell. Anyways, this car was really fun, and then I got bored with a tape measure and my dad's 66 Mustang, only to realize that these things were so similar in dimension that I had to make something happen. This is where the ratty 65 Mustang came into play. This car actually belonged to Blake, who was a big part of this build. He traded a Silverado go-kart for it. We drug it out of his uncle's yard after it had been sitting for like 20 years. The thing was completely rotted through. It had no title, so don't get too butthurt. And we took it home and got right to work. You can watch every inch of this build in depth on my channel in a 3-part series, so go check it out. This is just the summary. Now, when creating a blasphemous piece of artwork like this, you have to start by completely gutting the beautiful factory car you started with. I ended up cutting the entire floor, trunk, and front end off of this car, firewall included. Eventually, we made enough cuts to be able to lower the Mustang body onto the Honda chassis. And it didn't fit at all. We lifted the body on and off the chassis about 1 billion times. When it was all said and done, it was basically just a roof, doors, quarters, and a trunk. We had to cut the whole cowl panel out, the dashboard, you name it, we probably cut it. After all that, the Mustang body sat on the Honda chassis. The wheelbase lined up, and believe it or not, the rockers lined up too. So well that it was actually the main structural contact point of the whole body to chassis conversion. We welded the rockers to the rockers, the Honda roll bar to the Mustang roof, the Mustang doors to the Honda roll bar, and braced the Mustang rear to the Honda chassis. Now for the fun part, all the lovely body fabrication we did. I started by making fender mounts out of square tubing that we then mounted the fenders to with vice grips. So then Blake sectioned the wheel arches, moved them 5 inches back, and then welded that 5-inch section of metal back in front of the wheel arches. In all honesty, you can barely tell unless you look at it. Next, I took some sheet metal and fabbed up some custom side skirts to cover up the sides of the Honda chassis, while Blake worked on fabbing up a wicked dual snorkel hood out of the old rusty hood that was on the Mustang. Both came out so sick. Next up was the Gargantuan rear spoiler that was completely unnecessary because it's front-wheel drive, but it looked pretty badass, and we all had a lot of fun making that. Now, my personal favorite part of the car, because it took me such a long damn time to build, is the front end. This whole Valance chin spoiler louver setup started out as a drawing I made on a sheet of loose leaf. I knew that we added 5 inches to the front of the car, and I didn't want it to stick out and look weird, so I decided to do a big dramatic front end. Now, this was a very long process. Once again, go watch the full videos if you want. It started with me taking the factory Valance, cutting the edges off, and welding it flush to the fenders. After this, I created a Shelby-style hole in the Valance for air to hit the intercooler. I created a filler panel where the factory bumper would be, and then I made these neat little air dams. One goes to the turbo, one directs air to the radiator, and finally, I built this sick front chin spoiler, which I'm honestly so proud of. And then we assembled the front end, LED headlights, and the finishing touch, the beautiful blue headlight bezel that we found at a random junkyard. At this point, the car was nearly done. Of course, there's the tail lights, the fender extensions, the window bars, all the little stuff that you can see in the videos, including this windshield that I let the roll bar come through because I like it. All right, yeah, maybe I'm a little lazy and maybe I didn't have the tooling and maybe I didn't care. But yeah, that's about it. Some other fun facts. The wheels are some weird Japanese 5-ziggin wheels that are apparently discontinued. The hood mounts are made out of door hinges. I still have not washed the car at all. It's literally still covered in moss. But most importantly, I'm not done with the car yet. There's still plenty more shows to go to, plenty more races to happen, plenty more people to confuse, and plenty of fun to have. So enjoy this blooper reel of the car. Maybe subscribe. I don't care. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching Tom's Refurb. It's with a heavy heart. I'm gonna have to give up my convertible. I'm standing in front of my brand new, beautiful daily driver. Winter beater, you might say, because it is November and it's quite chilly. Advantages of a beard in this Jeep life that we live. Smile, Blake. No. And that's helping with some paint. Look at that. Got goddamn air dams on the goddamn hood. Good job, Blake. Wow. That is very aggressive. Why are you ducking? Scared of camera. Cam was scared. I like that. Water being in the bus. What's up? Where the fuck did that go? What the fuck? Recording?
Yup.
You sure you're recording?
No.
You recording?
Hey guys, Chris Fix here. Today we're starting on how to change glow plugs on a Honda Civic.
What the? Is that water? Yellow! Now, we are going to start tackling some other things. They're going to try to straighten out this spoiler because it got a tad bit warped when we welded it on. And, okay, we are now back home. I am exhausted. 4 hours round trip in a car that I had driven a total of 30 minutes before making said 4-hour round trip. And the thing didn't skip a damn beat, so couldn't be happier.